My left leg was amputated. When the accident happened, I pushed Ethan out of harm's way. He remained unscathed, but my left leg got caught in the wheel. Out of gratitude, he married me while I was still wheelchair-bound. For over a decade of marriage, we supported each other through life's challenges. Though occasional storms came, I considered our life together stable and happy, until I died from respiratory failure caused by chronic myelitis. When I died, Ethan sat by my grave murmuring, "You sacrificed a leg to save me. And I've been trapped in this self-made prison guarding you for over a decade. Now that you're gone, I'm finally free. We're even in this lifetime. If there's another life, let's never meet again across mountains and rivers." After saying this, he burned our marriage certificate before the tombstone. 3 months later, he remarried with great fanfare, hosting a lavish banquet. The bride was Emily, his former college sweetheart. As they exchanged rings, he choked up while embracing her, "You and our daughter have suffered too long." When I opened my eyes again, I'd returned to the day of the accident. This reborn life, I'll respect his wish. The glaring summer sunlight stung my eyes. Heat waves rose from the pavement, the sensation against my calves so vivid it made my heart tremble. I looked down instinctively, when I saw both legs intact beneath my skirt. Emotions overwhelmed me. It had been too long since I'd felt solid ground beneath both feet. Beside me, the man rapidly texting on his phone looked up in surprise. Seeing my tear-streaked face, he froze. "What's wrong? Why are you crying suddenly?" I slowly raised my eyes. Through the watery haze, I saw Ethan at 22, heartbreakingly handsome, radiating youthful vitality. His relaxed brows and clear bright eyes hadn't yet acquired the exhaustion and bitterness from later years. I'd nearly forgotten how dashing he'd been before our marriage. Ethan noticed my scrutiny, his fine brows slightly furrowing. That barely perceptible change made my heart constrict. In our previous life, this was the expression he'd worn whenever dismissing my unreasonable emotions. Feeling despair and self-reproach, he wiped my tears. "Still upset about my detention? I've explained countless times that bastard tried to assault Emily." I smashed a bottle on him in anger. In that situation, I stepped back from his touch, cutting him off calmly. "No need to explain. This has nothing to do with me. Saving whoever you want is your freedom." Ethan's face blanked. Words stuck in his throat. After a long pause, he asked tightly, "What do you mean by that?" I glanced at my intact legs again. Exactly what I said. "By the way, the compensation I paid for you earlier plus previous medical fees total $57,170, money from my part-time jobs meant for student loans. Please repay it promptly." In our past life, when I'd learned about Ethan's brawl and detention, I'd thought I misheard. The model student praised by teachers, the courteous student council member who never raised his voice, how could he brawl with street thugs? Later, I'd paid his fines and signed release papers. When I saw Ethan clearly, I froze in shock. Disheveled with bruised cheeks, his right sleeve torn and hands covered in scab wounds, Ethan looked completely different from the college student I'd known for 3 years. He hastily explained upon seeing me, "Emily and her friends got harassed by a drunk at the bar. That bastard tried to force himself on her when Dan and I happened to be there. We couldn't just stand by." I found it odd he'd suddenly visit bars with friends, but his earnest nature made me believe him. Though dating, we maintained personal space. Under such circumstances, helping any girl being assaulted would have been natural. I knew Emily too, Ethan and Dan's high school classmate now studying music performance at our university. While not close, I admired her grace and beauty. Yet smashing a bottle over the harasser's head seemed excessive. Thankfully the case settled through mediation. Strangely, police records omitted the assault allegation, only documenting the fight. The truth only surfaced years later during a housewarming party at Dan's new villa 2 months before my death. Chronic myelitis had left me with constant nerve pain and PTSD, making social interactions difficult. While others chatted animatedly, I retreated to the moonlit garden, fingers absently tracing my prosthetic leg. The night breeze carried voices through an open window. "How do you stand Olivia's coldness? She acts like we insulted her," Dan's wife complained. Ethan murmured apologies as another voice cut in, "Countless disabled people manage better than her self-centered ass. You threw away Emily for this hag who looks 20 years older? What a joke!" Dan exhaled smoke heavily. "Enough. Emily cheated first with that rich upperclassman. Ethan only went for Olivia because she resembled Emily. Then you idiots egged Emily to reconcile after her breakup. She got drunk with that lowlife to make Ethan jealous. Then sent those photos." The glowing cigarette in Ethan's hand pulsed like fireflies as silence fell. Someone finally said, "Why dwell on the past? Even if she saved Ethan from jail, marrying her clears any debt." Hidden in darkness, I clutched my throat as invisible hands tightened. A tsunami of emotions crashed over me. So that's how it was? From their fragmented conversation, I pieced together the whole truth. Emily Clark and Ethan Miller had been each other's first love. The brilliant boy and the beautiful girl, everyone said they looked like protagonists from a coming-of-age novel. But after entering college, Emily met a senior who drove a Ferrari. On their breakup day, Ethan drowned himself in alcohol, waiting 3 days beneath her dorm window without getting any explanation. Within a year, Emily's relationship with the senior ended. She started reaching out to Ethan again, wanting to reconcile. By then, Ethan and I were already officially dating. Yet she persisted, buying breakfast daily to wait outside his dorm, slipping perfumed love letters into his backpack through Dan. For an entire year, the man never looked back. Until her birthday. She booked a hotel room, wore new lingerie, her gift to herself being closure for their youth. She promised this would be the last time. But Ethan never showed. Drunk Emily video called him from a bar, stranger's hands already slipping beneath her revealing neckline. When Ethan rushed over, he found her being pinned in a booth, dress disheveled. Blind rage made Ethan yank her away, leading to a brutal fight. When overpowered, he grabbed a bottle and smashed it against the man's head. The rest I knew. That single blow nearly destroyed Ethan's future. The victim refused settlement, demanding jail time. I contacted a lawyer from my translation gigs, begging help. Countless hospital visits followed, humiliating pleas for mercy. After torturous negotiations, the man finally demanded 50,000 yuan compensation plus full medical coverage. Ethan couldn't let his parents know about the scandal. I paid the entire sum, my scholarship and years of translation earnings gone. The amputation happened during our return from detention center. Ethan suddenly needed something from across the street. When he jaywalked, a black sedan swerved toward him. My body moved before my brain. I pushed him clear, but my left leg got caught under tires. Massive tissue necrosis forced amputation. Post-surgery, Ethan clutched my hand, tearfully vowing lifelong care. I withdrew from school, abandoned grad plans. Days spent rigid in Ethan's shabby rental, only leaving for rehab sessions. After graduation, Ethan skipped job hunting to start a media company with friends. He took my remaining 800,000 yuan compensation as seed money. My rehabilitation treatments stopped abruptly. Years later, my physician told me that if I'd completed all my rehabilitation treatments back then, the chronic myelitis might not have become permanent. In the years that followed, Ethan took me home to meet his parents. When his parents learned their son intended to marry a woman missing a leg, their faces turned ashen. They didn't bother with basic courtesy, publicly pointing at my nose to berate me. They called me shameless, a cripple, a burden dragging down their son. Their insults rolled off me. What choice did I have? I'd lost my leg saving Ethan. The amputation left me with severe PTSD. Every night I'd writhe in terror and despair. Given my condition, Ethan remained my best option. How dare they demand I let go? Never. I'd rather die. My recovery after amputation went poorly. Chronic myelitis ravaged me. Before 40, my hair turned white and my face aged decades. Ethan hired 2 caretakers and deposited $200,000 monthly into my account. He rarely came home. And when he did early, he'd stay in his study until midnight. Always busy. Always traveling. The night Dan hosted his housewarming party, my PTSD triggered violent tremors and labored breathing, requiring emergency hospitalization. I demanded answers from Ethan. He kept avoiding me. 2 months later, I died of myelitis-induced respiratory failure in that hospital. Ethan never came. Not even at the end. My spirit lingered. I watched nurses drape the white sheet. Saw dawn lightening the sky. Witnessed Ethan's belated arrival at my corpse. Relief flooded his face. After the funeral, he sat smoking by my fresh grave. "Olivia," he said, "you lost your left leg saving me. And I've been chained to you these 15 years. Now you're gone. I'm finally free. We're even this lifetime. If there's another, let's never meet again." He burned our marriage certificate on the tombstone. I followed Ethan to a luxury villa. A woman in silk nightgown came running barefoot. Emily. She embraced him, murmuring, "Don't grieve too much, darling. Now that woman's dead. Our family can finally be whole." He nodded silently. That evening I saw their 9th-grade daughter. But we'd only been married 15 years. My supposedly stable marriage had been rotting all along. Perhaps my eyes betrayed seething hatred. Ethan softened his tone, almost wheedling, "Don't be angry. I'll transfer the money soon. Let's get your favorite desserts. Okay?" I shook off his reaching hand. Ethan froze mid-gesture, arm awkwardly suspended. His phone rang abruptly. Checking the caller ID, he shot me a panicked glance. "Wait here, Olivia," he said stiffly. "I need to take this." Then, he covered the receiver and walked several steps away. "Hey, Emily." His hushed voice carried on the wind. "Don't worry. I've handled everything. I'm out of detention now." The other end said something indistinct. I watched his ear tips flush pink. He whispered, "What brand of tampons do you use?" "Okay. Got it. Stay in your dorm if you're cramping. I'll bring tampons and painkillers later." When he hung up and turned around, residual tenderness still lingered on his face. He awkwardly said, "Olivia, something came up. Why don't you head back to campus first? I'll bring desserts to your dorm later." My gaze flickered to Ethan's phone screen lighting up with continuous notifications. "Don't bother," I said flatly. "I have plans tonight anyway." The man exhaled imperceptibly. "All right then. Be safe walking back." In the slanting sunlight, I watched him hurry across the street. Memories surged of that split-second terror when my left leg had been crushed beneath tires in my past life. Suddenly I blurted, "Ethan." He turned, smiling. "What is it, Olivia?" I stared at this man who'd stayed by my side for nearly 2 decades in another lifetime. The man who'd knelt weeping by my hospital bed, swearing to cherish me forever. The sunset bathed him in bloody light as the walk signal flashed behind him. "Watch your step crossing streets," I said. "Wouldn't want you getting hit by a car." Ethan grinned. "Relax. Your boyfriend's got 9 lives." I turned toward campus without another word. 12 seconds later, screeching tires and a sickening thud of impact shattered the afternoon. Screams erupted. "Call 911. Someone got hit." My nails dug crescent moons into my palms as I clutched my canvas bag strap. The crowd surged toward the intersection like tidewater. Bile rose burning in my throat. I doubled over, retching violently. Stumbling back to my dorm, I met my roommate's anxious eyes. Olivia, she hesitated, pushing her phone toward me. This post went up 5 minutes ago. The victim, isn't that Ethan from our class? The campus forum headline glared, finance major Ethan Miller in critical condition after Cultural Plaza crash. Blurred photos couldn't disguise the dark stains spreading across asphalt. My phone vibrated on the desk, an unknown landline number. I tapped speakerphone. The phone call came with a woman's urgent voice. Hello. Is this Olivia Brown? This is City General Hospital's ER. Ethan was in a car accident with severe injuries. We need you or his family to come immediately. I frowned. Shouldn't the hospital contact his school or family directly? Why call me? Sorry. I replied. Ethan and I are just classmates. You should reach out to his family. The voice hesitated. You're his only emergency contact. Could you notify his relatives? I don't have their information. I'm busy. I hung up decisively. 3 shocked faces stared at me, mouths agape as if meeting a stranger. I ignored them, dragging heavy feet to the bathroom. These past days, classmates kept huddling in whispers that died when I approached, obviously gossiping about me. I didn't care. Attended classes, ate alone, studied at the library during free periods. On the 4th morning, Dan blocked me in the hallway. Anger tightened his features. Olivia, have you no heart? Ethan's lying in the hospital with a shattered leg. Doctors say he'll probably be crippled. Just a lame leg? My voice stayed flat. I lost my entire left leg last time. His face twisted. The whole class visited him. Even Zachary from student council who hated him. But you, his girlfriend, haven't even called. Are you made of stone? I rolled my eyes. Maybe Zachary went to laugh. He choked on his fury, momentarily speechless. Meeting his glare, I said, you should have notified Emily. Not me. Dan froze as the bell rang. Shouldering past him, I strode into class. You're the coldest person I've ever met. He spat behind me. My lips curled bitterly. Cold? Compared to you hypocritical wolves. I'm practically warm. Yet I eventually went to the hospital. The ward reeked of antiseptic and decay. Ethan's right leg bulged under blood-stained bandages. Severe infection required days of debridement before surgery could begin. The man propped against pillows looked skeletal. Cheeks hollowed, mirroring my own gaunt reflection from that other life. His eyes lit up weakly. Olivia. His cracked voice held pathetic hope. He jerked upright, hissing in pain. Then his gaze dropped to my intact left leg. The light in his eyes shattered. Sitting by his bed, I placed my tote bag across both healthy limbs. His stare burned into my left leg. Olivia. His whisper shook. Why didn't you save me that day? You could have stopped it. I know you could. His voice was quiet, yet trembled with barely restrained emotion. My chest tightened as bitter anguish flooded through my limbs. Ethan, had he actually come back too? I stared coldly at him without answering. My gaze made him shift uncomfortably, his lips twisting into a sardonic smile. After all these days since my accident, the great Olivia finally graces me with her presence. What's the occasion? I need to focus on final exams next month before summer break. I replied evenly. Ethan frowned in apparent confusion. This summer I'm not taking any part-time jobs. I've made plans to travel abroad with friends. You need to return the $57,170 you owe me. His eyes widened in disbelief, bloodshot veins creeping across the whites. You came here, just to demand money? His voice cracked. Olivia, do you even have a heart? Did you ever truly love me? I nearly laughed at the absurdity. How dare he ask about love? Had he forgotten how I'd lost my leg in his stead during our past life? The memory of Dan casually mentioning how Ethan had used me as Emily's replacement flashed through my mind, that same Emily whose grave he'd wept at while spouting hypocritical regrets. You think you're worthy of love? My lips curled in derision. Ethan, did you really believe I'd stay your fool forever? He stiffened. When did I ever deceive you? You took care of me? I scoffed. Those first 2 years before marriage. You occasionally helped. But mostly I hopped around on one leg with a crutch while you played house. After we married and you got rich, hiring a single housekeeper made you feel like some hero. Be honest, how many times did you truly tend to me yourself? His face flushed crimson. I was working. Building our future. Those 200,000 monthly allowances didn't grow on trees. Working? I sneered. Fucking Emily in her Bayview Villa mansion? Attending parent-teacher conferences for your 9th grade love child? At Emily's name, Ethan paled. After strained silence, he suddenly barked a humorless laugh. You want to know what I felt during our marital duties? His words dripped venom. Looking at that mangled stump where your leg should be? Pure revulsion. I needed pills just to stomach touching you. Each syllable stabbed like poisoned blades twisting in my heart. I clenched my jaw until it ached, refusing to let tears fall. Never would I crumble before this trash. I stood abruptly and slapped him with full force. The crack echoed through the room. You're fucking disgusting. I spat as his head snapped sideways. Why didn't that car finish you? Ethan worked his bleeding cheek. Adam's apple bobbing. I drew a shuddering breath. I don't care about your past contempt or my life-saving debt from our previous lives. 2 things matter now we're through. And you'll return every cent today. From now on, we're done. Completely over. I stood by the hospital bed, arms crossed, watching coldly as Ethan called relatives and friends one by one with a stormy expression. When Alipay notified $57,170 had been transferred, I blocked all his contacts in his face. As I turned to leave, Ethan's icy voice came from behind. Olivia, let's see how well you'll survive this lifetime without me. With that scheming father of yours and that calculating stepmother. How long before you come crawling back? Don't expect me to take you in then. My steps faltered. The revolting faces of those 2 flashed through my mind. That woman who'd been my mother's cousin. She'd cared for Mom during her late-stage cervical cancer, straight into my father's bed. After Mom's death, I became the thorn in her flesh. She'd schemed daily to drive me out before 14, doting only on her own daughter from a previous marriage. My father turned a blind eye, even pressured me to quit school under her instigation. I'd resisted. My stellar high school entrance exam scores earned a tuition waiver, scholarships, selling Mom's gold bracelet, and odd jobs got me through 3 years. Ethan knew my wretched family history, knew my hatred. Yet he deliberately used it against me now. Rage exploded behind my eyes. I whirled back and slapped him again, spitting on his face. Dream on. Want me back? It's high noon, save your delusions for nighttime. You're cut from the same cloth as those bastards. Ethan's face contorted, veins bulging. He lunged from the bed but crashed to the floor with his injured leg. Oh! Liv! He roared my name like a wild animal. I sneered down at his pathetic heap before slamming the door. Though I severed all ties, campus gossip still reached me. His post-surgery infection triggered sepsis, a month-long ICU stay. His parents withdrew him from school. Emily had worn a white veil for their hospital bed kiss photo, their touching love story trending on campus forums. I had no time for their drama. Between advanced interpretation exams, grad school prep, and reveling in my healed leg's freedom, BBC News and TED Talks filled my days. Even my dreams echoed with simultaneous interpretation drills. Ethan's name faded like chalk under the tidal wave of studies. We crossed paths again in the winter of senior year, days after the grad entrance exams. I sat by the man-made lake sipping hot cocoa, watching black-headed gulls dip and soar. Sudden commotion erupted nearby. Ethan! What the hell are you doing here? Look at yourself, you're scaring people off. A woman's voice spat disgust. I turned toward the sound. Behind the bare kapok tree, I spotted two familiar figures. In the bitter winter chill, Ethan wore only a crumpled plaid shirt. His emaciated frame appeared even more pitiful hunched over a cane. His bloodshot eyes glared with bitter mockery. Friends? You dare call this friendship? You were practically devouring each other. Still fucking friends? Emily. I only took medical leave for 1 semester and you're already spreading your legs for someone else. No wonder you've been ignoring my calls and texts. If I hadn't come today, I'd never have caught you cheating. Emily's face twisted in irritation. You don't own me. Should I chain myself to a cripple? If I'd known you'd end up 70% disabled, I'd never have dated you. My parents would break my legs if I brought home damaged goods. You're disgusted by me? Ethan trembled violently, his voice breaking. Remember who caused this? That truck hit me while I was buying your anniversary gift. Then call the police. Emily's voice turned arctic. Go ahead. Let them arrest me. You're the idiot who didn't look both ways crossing the street. That driver's the real victim here. Stay away from me. Ethan. We're done. As she stormed off, Ethan collapsed like a marionette with severed strings. His cane clattered to the pavement as he crashed to the frozen ground. I leaned against the tree, savoring every delicious moment of his humiliation. When he finally struggled upright, our eyes locked across the frost-laden quad. He froze like a startled deer, shock etching deep lines into his haggard face. Monday's 8 a.m. Class found me clutching steaming dumplings and soy milk, earbuds blasting Taylor Swift as I slid into a seat. My friend Shui Yin scooted closer, eyes sparkling with gossip. Olivia! She nudged me conspiratorially after I removed my headphones. Did you hear? Ethan's art school girlfriend got caught banging some jock from the sports academy yesterday. They were checking into a love hotel when he ambushed them. Can you imagine a cripple fighting an athlete? They wheeled him back to the ER with 2 broken ribs. My fingers stilled on the dumpling wrapper. Police dragged the couple to the station. Shui Yan continued gleefully. Serves them right. Don't you think? She gripped my wrist excitedly. Feel better hearing this? I smiled genuinely. Actually, yes. Karma's a bitch. That's my girl. Shui Yan laughed. I haven't seen you smile since the breakup. Forget that loser, eligible guys are everywhere. Her kindness warmed me, while our classmates branded me a heartless opportunist for dumping Ethan post-accident. Shui Yan remained steadfast. By the way, she added, bumping my shoulder, hearing you aced the advanced interpretation exam? Legendary. Dinner's on me tonight, pick anywhere. The semester blurred by. After our final financial engineering exam, dorm rooms emptied rapidly. I helped Shui Yin haul luggage to her taxi, returning to find our deserted apartment hauntingly quiet. Memories flooded back, freshman year introductions in the same space. The awkward laughter and late-night cram sessions. Now graduation loomed, scattering us like dandelion seeds. Next semester, only the grad school hopefuls would remain. The rest of us would dissolve into internships and adulting, our shared history fading like old Polaroids. The next time we met was likely during my thesis defense. I splashed water on my face and stood before the mirror for a long time, feeling an overwhelming sense of emptiness. Grabbing my canvas bag, I headed downstairs to buy milk and groceries from the supermarket. It would close in 2 days. The moment I stepped out of the dormitory, I spotted a familiar figure nearby, glancing at Ethan leaning on crutches by the walkway. I tried to slip past unnoticed. His face lit up when he saw me. He hobbled forward urgently. Olivia, you're here. I need to talk to you. I had no interest in engaging. Get lost. You're blocking my fresh air. His eyes reddened as he stared at me with exaggerated tenderness. Olivia. Please, I waited here for you. Since you've nowhere to go during winter break. I rented that apartment we lived in during our past life. Let me help move your things. We'll spend New Year's together. I massaged my temples irritably. Did he really think I'd feel nostalgic about that prison-like rental? Ethan. When will this end? Weren't you the one who said if there's another life, let's stay continents apart forever? Who are you performing this act for now? As I tried to push past him, he grabbed my arm. I was wrong, a complete idiot. I take it all back. He slapped himself twice. Olivia. I regret everything. Let's get back together. I swear I'll treat you right this time. This was beyond ridiculous. I'm utterly speechless. I jerked my arm free. Take your filthy hands off me. What gives you the right to touch me? Ethan paled. Eyes glistening. How can you be so heartless? Olivia? We were married for over a decade. You can't possibly feel nothing. The audacity to accuse me of cruelty. He'd never questioned his own brutality during our previous life. When he stubbornly refused to move, I aimed a sharp kick at his uninjured left leg. He yelped in pain. His other weakened leg buckled, sending him crashing to the ground. I shrugged innocently. I warned you to get lost. Since you insisted on restraining me, consider this self-defense. Lying sprawled on the pavement, he gazed up with theatrical sorrow. I don't blame you, Olivia. If this eases your pain, I'll endure it. Kick me as much as you want, just forgive me. His pathetic act made me worry he'd enjoy the abuse. With the path finally clear, I stepped over him without another word. In late February, my postgraduate entrance exam results arrived. My score exceeded my final mock test by over 20 points, an exceptional performance. Pragmatically, I'd applied to a competitive program at a second-tier university's smart finance department rather than aiming for top schools. During the intense postgraduate entrance examination retest preparation phase, I heard nothing more about Ethan until 6 months into my graduate studies. After that kick incident, he'd harassed me intermittently. Each time, I either physically confronted him or called campus security. Gradually, he vanished from my life. That day, I had just left the finance lab when I received a voice message from Shui-Yen. She told me Emily Clark and Ethan Miller had gotten married, inviting many classmates from our cohort. I asked curiously, weren't they broken up before? What followed was an explosive story. During her internship, Emily worked as a music teacher at a private elite elementary school. She ended up having an affair with a student's father. When the man's wife discovered this, she leaked their explicit photos and scandalous chat logs online. Since the man was an executive at a publicly traded company, hashtags like hashtag executive caught in car with intern teacher and hashtag affair exposed by legal wife instantly trended that night. Shortly after, Emily was drugged while walking home at night. She woke up to find her hands covered in blood. Medical examinations revealed both her wrist tendons had been surgically severed. Though she regained basic mobility after treatment, playing instruments like guzheng or piano became impossible. So Ethan seized the opportunity? I asked Shui-Yen. Exactly, she replied. He sought Emily out, vowing to care for her forever. They just held a lavish wedding my boyfriend attended. I chuckled. Some couples are destined to find each other. Lifetime after lifetime. After grad school, I joined an international finance firm through campus recruitment, becoming a management trainee. My job required frequent travel between Shanghai and Hong Kong. Despite the hectic schedule, I started dating an AI major I'd met during grad school. On Valentine's Day, I video called my boyfriend after work in Hong Kong. Hanging up past midnight, I noticed over 100 unread messages in our college group chat discussing Emily and Ethan. Scrolling up, I found a forwarded news article, abused wife poisons family with rat poison. The accompanying mugshot showed Emily wearing a yellow detention vest. Head bowed during interrogation. Emily's statement described her marriage as living hell, caring for her disabled husband, enduring abusive in-laws. Even during pregnancy, her mother-in-law forced her to do chores. When she asked to rest, the older woman shoved her against a table corner, causing a miscarriage. Instead of comforting her, Ethan called her useless for losing the baby and beat her after the D&C procedure. The abuse escalated into sadistic rituals where he derived twisted satisfaction from her agonized pleas. She attempted to escape, divorce, seek help. Each effort met with intensified violence. Finally broken, she mixed rat poison into their meals repeatedly until her mother-in-law collapsed from vomiting. Reading this, I felt neither schadenfreude nor pity. True closure meant their stories no longer stirred my soul. 18 months into the management trainee program, I finally passed my probation review. When HR handed me the offer letter, the base annual salary made me hold my breath instinctively. This didn't even include the performance bonus I might receive at year-end. Life had truly become bright. I had a healthy body, a satisfying job, and a like-minded partner. In my previous life, I'd been trapped in agony, tormented by physical suffering. But thankfully, I now stood at the threshold of a brand new existence. The wind from the opposite shore carried both chill and freedom. Occasionally in the dead of night, I'd feel a missing piece in my heart. Until one overtime evening, amidst distant flickering lights, memories suddenly flashed of my father and stepmother's disgusting faces. Calculating the time, we hadn't spoken in 6 or 7 years. It was about time I showed some concern for their family. During my vacation, I returned to my hometown. Whether by coincidence or not, my homecoming coincided with my stepsister's engagement day. The entire family clearly adored her fiancé. If my father and stepmother had tails, they'd be wagging them sky high. The groom was a factory heir, tall, handsome, and wealthy, explaining why my stepsister gazed at him with such adoration. My return barely registered with my father and stepmother, their indifference unchanged except when boasting about their daughter's golden catch. During my stay, I investigated the fiancé's family factory through contacts, finding their front desk job posting online. I hired a beautiful amateur actress at great expense, crafting an elaborate script. I had her apply for the position and approach my dear stepsister's fiancé, promising an extra $20,000 bonus if she could make them break off the engagement. I emphasized using only legal means. If she chose to throw herself at him, that was her prerogative. The girl didn't disappoint. Within 3 months, news arrived of my stepsister's relationship turmoil. 2 months later, the actress sent me an $8,888 red packet and 2 marriage certificates, hers and the ex-fiancé's. Before I could process this, her video call popped up. "Sis, take the gift money," she chirped. "Jason and I are getting married next month. Will you be my bridesmaid?" Stunned, I stammered, "Oh, right. Let me transfer your bonus." "Same bank account?" She cut me off. "I should be thanking you for introducing Jason. Keep the money." "But I just found out I'm pregnant. Will you be my baby's godmother?" The summer sun glared painfully bright. She added meaningfully, "If you ever need professional actors in the future, I've got connections." After consideration, I smiled. "Know any older performers? 40 or 50-ish? I heard her chest thumping through the phone. "Absolutely. I'll send wedding details. You must come." Some might call my stepsister innocent, but when her mother crawled into my father's bed, making my terminally ill mother vomit blood, when she commandeered my bedroom, trashing my belongings like garbage, when she joined school bullies in calling me sewer rat, where was her innocence then? If her mother could steal my father, Why shouldn't others take her man? Perspective matters. Didn't I help her dodge a bullet? Any man easily seduced isn't marriage material. If she ever realizes this, she might thank me. I would sincerely tell her. No need to be polite. This is what a sis is for.